My nuts? Whose nuts? My nuts. My big old nuts. Hey there. Welcome. If you want to increase your virginity points, 10 points, then I suggest you watch this video. If you want to learn how you can increase your virginity points, at least threefold, within the confines of a less than 10-minute video, then this is the video for you to watch, because we're going to go deep. We're going to go hard and heavy into some theory. Now, Scam School, Scam Nation, whatever it is they chose to rebrand themselves, Brian Brushwood, I would have your babies if I could possibly have your kids. You made a video recently on the idea of beginner mistakes. As a matter of fact, the biggest mistake that beginners in magic tend to make, which is pretty much narrating the entirety of what you do. So if you guys haven't watched that video, I suggest you watch it. It's a tremendous video. They use the key card trick as an example as to how you could potentially avoid this habit that beginner magicians tend to carry on themselves, like I don't know, like a tree monkey sucking on a nipple. So today what I thought is I would expand on that. I would use my own experience and my own 20 years of virginity in this lovely craft and talk about how you guys could avoid this same mistake. I suggest you guys, again, watch that video. For context, I'm going to leave the link in the description below. I even wrote notes. I wrote notes just to keep myself in check as to what to tell you guys, so I can best accurately convey what the feelings in my mind are. You know that I'm not a notes guy, okay? I'm one of these guys that I'll just ramble on. I'll ramble on for years on end about stupid stuff, including magic theory. So if you're not a fan of magic theory, I suggest you watch another video, because this one's going to get deep. We're going to go so hard in there that you're going to think that it's pregnant from how hard I'm going to come inside of it, okay? So strap in. First things first, when you are a beginner magician, you tend to narrate things that you say that are unnecessary. Let me give you an example. Right here we have a deck of Bin Wang playing cards. I want you to verify that all these cards are different. These cards are all different, right? It's an ordinary deck of playing cards, sir. I'm going to mix these up. I want you to go ahead and select a card. Go ahead, pick one. That one right there? Perfect. Don't forget it right there. I'm going to lose your card in the deck. I'm going to make sure that it's gone. I'm going to shuffle it just to make sure that we're on the up and up, right? Because sometimes magicians aren't on the up and up. I want to make sure that we're on the up and up, sir. I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Do you know your card? You do? Was that it? Was that your card? Was it this Bin Wang club special? Obviously, Larupping playing card. That's not it? Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's do this then. Was that it? Was that your card? Thank you. What the fuck was the effect? What was the effect? I just mixed the deck. I told you what I was doing. That's a garbage trick. But you see people that just started doing magic do shit like that all the time. And honestly, it needs to stop. So pretty much the premise and what they were trying to justify in the video was the idea that if you're a beginner magician, you're going to narrate the things that you say because of a lack of confidence. You don't know what it is that you're doing. You just started doing magic. Even advanced magicians find themselves doing this, where they're saying the obvious. You are stating things that should be implied by the action. They have, I don't know if you know this, they have eyes. They could see what you're doing. You don't need to tell them what you're doing. So first thing that I wrote down here is say what you're doing because you don't know what to say. That's the main issue here. The reason you say what you're doing is because you don't know what to say. So if you tell the spectator, I'm going to mix the deck up, while mixing the deck, not only does it make you look dumb, but it's more likely because you don't know what it is to say. So you say what you think you need to say, which is, I'm mixing up the deck, even though it's an implied action. It's obvious. What you're doing is easily visible. How do you know what to say? Focus on the effect. I don't know how many times I say this, all right, to magicians. I don't know how many times I've had to repeat myself, but stop thinking about the method. Stop thinking about the process. Start thinking about the effect. What's the effect? You might be asking yourself. The effect is the end goal, all right? It's the nut. You know what it is? You know what I'm talking about? The nut. When you go and you're a squirrel and you're trying to get that nut, you're trying to work it in, the effect is that nut. All right. The process is the what you need to do to get to that nut. You know, take her on a date. All right. Take a shower, put on deodorant. Those are all that's the steps to the nut. But what really matters is the nut, because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for. We're all here. We're all squirrels looking for our nut. So when I've taught people card tricks, what I find that they do is exactly that. They narrate the obvious. So for example, one of the most common tricks that I teach people is the first trick that I ever learned, which is this one right over here. You reverse the bottom card, you have somebody touch a card, they look at the card, you secretly reverse the deck, you put that card in the middle of the deck, you say, I'm going to find your card with one hand behind my back, here we go. Did it. And of course, guess what? When we spread through the deck, there's only one card that's face down, and it happens to be your card. That's the most common trick that I teach people. Why? Because it's easy, number one. Number two, it involves a setup, which is something that people are going to have to get used to if they want to learn card tricks, setups. They're going to have to memorize steps. That's another reason. And then lastly, because it teaches them misdirection, which is a key skill needed in Magic. You need to divert attention. And this trick, the misdirection, is built in, because you only need to do the move when they're looking at their card. So if you can't do that, you really should consider, I don't know, selling used Acuras, selling Nissan Altimas at a lot somewhere in Phoenix. But this is a wonderful trick to teach that to people. And what I find is whenever I teach people this trick, what they do is essentially what I've mentioned before, what Scam School mentioned, which is they narrate everything that is happening. Go ahead, take a card, sir. You're looking at the card? Perfect. I'll tell you what. I'm going to put your card in the middle of the deck. Okay, your card's going to go in the middle of the deck. Perfect. Now I'm going to put the deck behind my back, and I'm going to find your card with one hand. They justify the actions. They over-justify when it's not necessary. So that's one of the things that I've noticed every time I've taught people card tricks, that they tend to narrate the things they do, which is unnecessary. Now, what I mentioned before is you are overcompensating because of a lack of confidence. You are overcompensating. You can't afford a Rolex, all right, Pepsi GMT. So what do? You get a Seiko diver. You get a Seiko diver and you get a mod to put a GMT bezel on it because you're overcompensating, okay? That's what you're doing, but with card tricks. So you don't have a confidence. You don't have any confidence in what you're doing. So what you do is that you justify your actions. And this is a common trope among magicians. So don't worry. Don't think, oh man, I'm never going to be any good because, I do this all the time. I'm narrating everything that I'm doing. I'm saying what I'm doing. I'm stating the obvious. It's a common thing. Okay, you're going to get over it. It's an easy thing to get over once you realize what you're doing. So just be aware of it. And that's one of the common ways to fix the problem. Be aware of what you're doing. Look at a video. Record yourself. If you ever have the opportunity to perform for someone, look at a video and see what you're saying. You're going to realize a lot of times you're stating the obvious. A lot of times you are overcompensating in areas that don't need compensation. Spectators are dumb. Okay, they're dumb. We give them more credit than they deserve, but they're really dumb. So if you're saying things that are obvious, that triggers their already feeble mind into thinking, wait a second, he's showing me the deck of cards and he's saying that it's an ordinary deck. Why would he be telling me that? Oh, maybe it's not an ordinary deck. Oh, he's telling me he's mixing the card into the deck. Why would he tell me that? Oh, because maybe he's not mixing the card into the deck. Even spectators with their loser, feeble minds could see that something's going on if you are stating the obvious. I've mentioned this about 1,000 times. All right, if I have to mention this one more time, I will find you and I will make sure that you're firstborn. I can't finish that for fear of getting demonetized, but I wrote this down here, and I think this is key and crucial. It says, if you are thinking of the effect, you won't be thinking about the process. So if you're thinking about the effect, if you are an effect-driven performer, then you're not going to be thinking about the process, and therefore you are less likely to vocalize the process. Think about what you're trying to convey to the audience. In that little example that I gave, what's the effect? Oh, the card changed. I'm confused as to what's going on. However, if you take that same trick and you say, you know what, you're going to find your card, sir. You're going to find your own card. I'm tired of finding cards. Let's say your card is the Queen of Clubs, by the way. I'm tired of finding cards. I'm sick and tired. All I do every day is find cards. You're going to find your card for once. I'll tell you what, is this your card? Six of Spades? Of course not, because I'm not going to find your card. You're going to find your card. Hold on to your card here. I'm going to run through the deck with my thumb. I want you to shove that card in there whenever you think that your card is going to be there, okay? So go ahead. Don't let go of the card right there. Perfect, perfect. Was that it? Six of Hearts? No? That wasn't it? Okay, how about this one? The 10 of Clubs. That wasn't it? Are you pulling my leg here? This is what you're doing? You're pulling my leg? Well, you know what? Maybe you don't have the practice necessary to become a magician. What was your card, sir? Oh, the Queen of Clubs? That's cool. That's the card you're holding, right? And it becomes this nice little M. Night Shyamalan twist. But the effect there is they're going to find their card. Yeah, you twisted on them at the end, right? You twisted on them. You wringed their neck out like your Taz in 1995 ECW. You wring your neck out. But here, what you're doing is you are thinking of the effect. And by thinking of the effect, the pattern comes out. The effect becomes necessary. The effect becomes the focus, and the process is in the back burner. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this is what I'm going to try to convey to the audience. So what I'm going to say is going to be more focused on conveying the effect to the audience as opposed to thinking about the process. If I'm thinking about the process, I'm going to vocalize the process. Oh, the card's going in the deck. I'm going to shuffle the card. Think about the effect, and you're going to be more driven into conveying that to the audience. Next, to a beginner, the process is all you got. Unfortunately, the process is all you got. You don't have the capacity in your mind to be thinking yet about the effect. And I know that sounds a little bit shitty. It sounds a little bit snobby, but everyone's gone through that at some point in their magic career. They're only got the method. The method is the only thing that you're thinking about, because the method is the focus. You're trying to remember the steps. You're trying to remember, oh, wait, am I supposed to get to the cart here? Now I'm supposed to do a double lift. You're not thinking about what the audience is seeing. You're too focused on what you're doing because you don't have sufficient practice. So what you need to do is practice more. That's it. Practice more. Be able to do stuff without thinking about it, and you won't vocalize it. And that's fine. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's what you signed up for, all right? Speaking of, you should sign up for the Pigcake Magic Academy. $5 a month, 2 videos every single week going over card and coin stuff, theory, history, everything. 300 videos already, huh? You get access to all the videos. I know some services say, hey, guess what? You sign up for my little bit of a thing. Well, you only have access to the stuff moving forward. You don't have access to the repository. You don't have access to the previous history. With this, you do. You get access to everything the moment you sign up. $5 a month. $10 a month gets you the Mentalism Academy, and everything else is included. That's less than 2 White Claws a month, so you should sign up for that. So what I'm getting at here is beginner magicians, all you got is a process initially. All you have is the methodology as to how to do stuff. But eventually through practice, you're going to realize, oh, okay, I don't have to think about controlling the card to the top. I don't have to think about this. I could focus on the effect. I could focus on what I'm trying to convey to the audience. That was a pretty rambly video. That was pretty long. But just to summarize, just to kind of get to the point here, think about the effect first. Don't try to overcompensate. Don't over-justify, all right? Actions that are visible are obvious to the spectator. So if you are shuffling a deck, they could see that you're shuffling. You don't need to tell them you're shuffling a deck. If you show them the deck and you go, have you seen one of these before? They know what you're talking about. You don't need to say, look, the deck is in an order. The deck is in a random order. You don't need to say that. That's gross. So just think about those things and you'll be fine. Think about the effect. Effect first. All right. If you're thinking about the effect, you won't be thinking necessarily about the method. Relax. It's a card trick. Okay. Relax. If you mess up, you're not going to die. They're not going to kill you. They're not holding a gun to your head and saying, hey, sir, if you even flash for a second during this card trick, I'm going to paint the wall with your brain matter. They're not saying that. All right. It's a card trick. If you mess up, it's okay. You don't need to be nervous. You don't need to state what you're doing because of the shakes. Relax. It'll all be fine. So that's the video. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I said 10 minutes, right? I said earlier 10 minutes that this would be a 10-minute video. It's turned out to be a 17-minute video according to this. Obviously, that's going to get chopped down. There are things that are going to be cut. I could say stuff. I could say my name. I could say who I am. And you're not going to see that because of the magic of Adobe Premiere Pro. Okay? So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do all the things that people do when it comes to videos. Don't overcompensate. Okay? Don't overcompensate. Don't get a Seiko diver if you can't afford a Rolex just because you want to make it look like you got a Seiko diver and you get a Jubilee bracelet and you get the GMT bezel. All right. Don't do that. Just work to try to afford a Rolex. Okay. Don't have a small dick.